things I have to cover from Postman point of view. So
Okay.
one thing is, there is a concept called environment variables. Okay,
Okay.
if you open your post, are they using Postman just to verify things from their end?
I'm not sure still.
Okay. So here, what happen is in Postman you can configure your environment variables. So what you
Okay.
can add in your environment variables is, see, this URI, this resources, this parameters. These are things you can add. So here, how to add this one? If you click here,
Mm-hmm.
actually this is my environment. Click on add. You'll be able to add new environment. You should give a
Okay.
name to it. For
Okay.
example, say test API. So
Mm-hmm.
here you can add your variables like base URL and value. You can give like this. See, this is one more API I was just exploring to give you some example on reading data from JSON. I'll explain that shortly, but just to explain you this variables, environment variables, I'm just using it. Just paste like this. This is your base URL.
Okay.
Maybe you can have, uh, okay, let me show you something. See, to create that, you do this way, but
Okay.
you click on the new and if you click here, you click the add button and under this environment, then you will be able to add new environment. You should give some name to environment and you should
Mm-hmm.
add variables in this.
Mm-hmm.
Then I want to show you something which I created. So here, what I did was, like, if I click on edit, see what I did was, I added the base URI for some API which I was just doing some POC purpose. I am using
Mm-hmm.
this base path. This is nothing but, see, what is this? So if I click here, well, I got some task to explore something and demonstrate something. So for that, I'm working on it. So this is
Okay.
my base URI. What I did was, this is up till this part. It is all common for all the URIs. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So what I did is, I created a base URI and added this up to this part. API this up to this part. I added it under base URI. Okay.
Okay.
Then
Mm-hmm.
base path. So this path until this V1, I said it is common. Until this
Mm.
part, I added in this base path. Then
Okay.
there are some endpoints which are mentioned here. This is the for get item. So if you click here, this is the endpoint to get item. So
Mm-hmm.
whatever the endpoint there, this one, what I did
Mm.
is I created the name of this and then added that path here.
Okay.
Now, how I access it? See, under this eBay, just this is my get request, imagine. So generally what
Okay.
we do, we enter
Put
our
in the
URL this
URL.
way, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now what I did is I stored each and every part of it by separating them, URI, path, and then resources. I separated them into three parts under this
Mm-hmm.
environment variable. I separate them.
Mm-hmm.
See, this is my complete URI. If you combine this one HTTPS and this one. So
Mm-hmm.
URI, path, and whatever endpoint I'm targeting, I have separated them this way. Then what I did is, while calling them, instead of adding them like this, I'm calling
Mm-hmm.
them this way. Let me duplicate this and explain you something. Sorry, duplicate. Let's copy. See, to call it, what I do is I just open this flower braces. Okay.
Okay.
Then what you have given, you should remember. So see, if you see E, these are the environment which you have given. So first
Okay.
I need my base
Yes,
URI,
URL.
right?
Okay.
Then again give any this flower braces again. Just whatever you have given, just try to like type it. Then you
Okay.
give this base path. Then what I have given,
Yes.
given this get item endpoint. So I call it this way, so
Mm-hmm.
that if you want to change it, they are maintained in the form of environment variable. This is the concept of environment variables in the Postman. Okay.
Okay.
So this is how, instead of that, you use this one directly passing URL. You are passing it in way. And one more thing, like, just if you send this request. Okay. So I missed something. Okay, maybe what you do is, yeah, actually, this one I can't execute for some reason because I'm doing it on BOC. Let's try this one then.
Okay.
So let me close this. Let me close this. I'm not saving this. Let me create a new collection. What is the name? Request. This is the open source one. I create a new collection with this name. This is my collection. Inside this, I'll create a new request. I give this request. What is this request? This is for get users. Let's try this one. Okay. This is my get users. What I do is, up to this part, this is my base path, I can say. This is my base URL. So what I'll do is, first it's a get request, right? I'll say get users, something like this. I just create and save it as a request. Inside this, I click here. If I select, see, these are already added. That's why if you click, you can't see add here. But here you click on new environment. You click on add. I'll say environment name. I say RES, and here I can say, I'll say this base URI. I paste this. Then I say base path. Inside this base path, see, whatever you copy here, it will be pasted here. If whatever initial value you copy, that will get pasted here automatically.
Okay.
So for this base path, what I'm doing is, here I want to use this one, which is the list users. If I click on this, I have added until this part, right? Now what I need this one. So I just copy this, then paste it here. It will get pasted. So this is what, I don't have anything else extra for this one. And also, you have 3 environments, right? You can see all the environments here. Just close this, go here and select this environment like this. Now, if I type, I say whatever I have added, base URI I get, and then I say this base path. I say this one also I get. Now, if I click on send, see that we got the response. See, this is a very simple API. I'll forward this to you. Just, there is no authentication or something. Whatever you're seeing get request, you can create and test this way. Okay. Just go to each and every request, and what is the request you have to send? It is mentioned here. What is the response you will be getting? That is mentioned here. So you can just validate. See, that is what we got here, right? When I send the request, that is what it is mentioning, page 2 purpose 6 total 12. That is what I have got, right? So you just have to verify it is the same or not. ID 7 8 9 10 11, there it is mentioned. Here also you see ID 7 8 9 10 11. So that is the same response I got. So this is a very good one to get hands on and practice. Okay. Now here, this is how you just try to explore some APIs on your own. There are many open source APIs. So try to explore something simple. Initially start with something simple, then go with some complicated, then only. Just inside that, what you do is, this is how you configure your environment variables. Now there is something called like let me show you here. We have already created something for this one, right? What was that? Stripes API. So if you click here, if you click on run, there is something called collections, the concept of collections. What does this do? If you run all your manual test cases and see the result at one go, you have to use this. So how you use these collections? Here, these are the different collections you have created already. To run the collections, first you have to click on this play button, this button. Then this will get open this way. You have to click on run. Okay. Then this will get open. Inside this, you see something called delay. Why this delay is applied? You want to give some gap between executing all these requests. How much gap? I'm just giving to 1 second or something, 10 seconds I'm giving. So it is in milliseconds. I'm giving 1000 milliseconds. So before executing all these requests, after one request, it will wait for this much time which you have given. Okay. Now, I give this. Maybe I want to click on the save response. I just click on run. See, it is running. Okay, this is for the Stripes API ones which we have created during our session. So you can see zero. I mean, I think this may be something wrong. Zero pass, zero fail it is showing. It should show some proper statistics, but still, if you want to execute them at one go, you can do this way. This is the one thing. So if you click on export results, see, it will get saved somewhere. Okay. It is saving in the form of JSON. So if I click on save, it is saved. So now if I want to access, I'll open my folder where I have. Then inside this, see, it has saved everything, the result in the form of JSON. Okay, maybe you want to verify something, this will come handy. Like whatever result it has got for each and every test case, it has got exported in the form of this JSON. Just the result of your run is saved in the form of JSON, and I just exported it and saved in this way. Okay, so this is the concept of collections in Postman. So how I forgot to mention this. That's why I just remembered that these two need to be covered. So I just covered them quickly. So maybe you may or may not need to use Postman, but knowing all these things will definitely help you when you work in real life. So now what we do is let's do one thing. This is the framework which we are trying to create. So let me tell you how to read data from JSON file. That is what I want to demonstrate first. So under this resources, I'll be using the same one. This one. Inside this, there is something called post request, which is with the name register successful. So this JSON data which I need to I'll explain in two ways. First, we store it in a string and pass it as a JSON. Firstly, then we'll try to pass it through external JSON file. Means we'll be creating a new JSON file. Inside that, we'll be adding and we'll try to read this. These two things, we'll try this now first. Okay. So you're clear with this collections and environments, right? Any queries?
No.
Yes. Okay. So here, what you do is I just copied this inside our project. What I'm doing is I have created some tests, right? So here, what I will do is I'll just copy paste it, and I'll say API. What was that? Register. Register successful. This is the name. Now I click on OK. Now, like we don't need all these things. I'll be creating something from scratch. So let's delete whatever we have inside. I'll just delete this. We don't need this priority as well. Just this is enough. And this is also extending base test.
Mm-hmm.
So inside this base test, did we provide something? Okay. Prop.base URL, base URI, base path. We are reading from creator.properties, right? So
Mm-hmm.
here, what I'll do is instead of this, I'm just commenting out this one. And also this base path. This also I'm just commenting out because I'm using some new one here now. So just remember that if you want to use it, maybe I'll say this is the base path for Stripes API. This is the base URI for Stripes API. Okay, let's just I have commented out so that if you want to execute this test, pass this one. Maybe
Mm-hmm.
you can add duplicate and add, but just to be keep this thing simple, I'm doing this way. So
Yeah.
now here we need this one, right? I click here. This will go here and this will go. So okay, we need this one as well. So now let's go back to this one. Okay. Don't need this one. Let me close this. Where is the fun? Okay, this one. So here, what I'll do is I'll quickly create some string with the name post string.
Mm-hmm.
Inside this, I'm pasting this one. For this one, I'm just pasting it. Now
Okay.
we are passing the JSON into the string and then we are trying to reading from here. Next part we'll see how you do it through what do you say, external JSON file. This is not external JSON file. This is the JSON string which was stored inside the string. I mean JSON format. I mean it is stored inside a string. So
Okay.
here remember that every string will be enclosed under this double quotes. Why you are
Oh,
getting here, you need this backslash here.
oh,
Java to read this as a unique code or something, it will need this every after every double quote. Sorry, before every double quote, you need this forward slash.
okay.
Now this error is gone. Now let response equal to given. There is something called content type. Okay.
Okay.
Inside this, there are two types. You can pass string, you can pass content type. I'm selecting the first one. I'll say content type dot JSON is what I have to use because this is the JSON, right? So I have to use this. Then dot body. Inside this, see, you have two options. You can directly pass file. Sorry, you can directly pass the file or you can directly pass the string here. we stored this JSON inside the string, so we have to pass this string. So you have to select this one.
Okay.
And string name you are giving here, post string. And then what is the request? This is a post request, right? So inside this URI, instead of using this prop.get property, okay, let's try to use it. What we say here, customer API endpoint. Okay, so here, okay, I think this is completely different structure from what we did there. So let's not change it and let's directly, as this is a simple one, let's leave it as it is. Do not disturb that one. Here I'll just directly pass it. So maybe I can do one thing. What I can do is, okay, here I say, I can say this one equal to, I'll simply paste this. I'll copy this. Inside this one, I'll paste this. Why it is showing like this? Unused. Okay, this is not used, that's why. So okay. We'll be using it anyways. So how we used this here by config.get property, right? That is what you have to use here. Inside this, what you say? Config.get property. Just pass it. Now, yeah, it has become this color. Then that's it. You don't need to pass anything. So this is the like whatever URI we are having, what we did, we stored in properties file the key value which we are passing here. Now if I run this, sorry, we need to print also as well. We need to print it, right? So I say response dot pretty print. Then I say I want to print the status code as well. System dot out dot println. I will say response dot status. Now if I run this, see, we got the same response which it is mentioned there. Here what it is mentioned, if you send this request, sorry, which we have sent this one, right? You send this request, this is the response you should get. So this is what we have got here, right? ID 4 token, and we have printed the status code. That's why it is shown 20. So now what we did is we called it from this external file. Sorry, we called it from string. Whatever JSON we have stored inside the string. Now let's write another test case to. Okay, here I need to change this, right? How I change this? Request response. Is this request? This is it. Okay. And say post. What is this? Register successful. Post register. Okay, I think post register is fine. Now I don't want it in the form of string. I want to get it from my property, sorry, JSON file. So how I do that? First I have to create a JSON file here. New, what I did, I have, see, since we have to do it in organized way, under this resources, you just right click, new file, name it as users.json, you can say. So inside this JSON, just copy this, paste it. Okay. Now we need another test case to read. Same thing we are reading through JSON.
Okay.
So requires just what you say? Request response API read this, read JSON, I will say. So here also I'll say read from JSON. So now I don't need this, right? I have this in my JSON file. So now how I get my JSON here? So for that, what you do is, see, already it is throwing error because we are passing string here. So
Mm-hmm.
instead of, I'll say, I told you, right, it will accept string, also it will accept a file. File is what we have to select here. Inside that, you have to give the path of this file. How you get it? Have open in Finder. I should get something. Yeah, reveal in Finder. Here, say in Windows you get it differently. In Mac I do it differently.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, just copying the path name this way. So inside this, I'll just paste it here. But I think instead of doing this, I don't need all these things. I just give this src. It is there under src resources only, right? So I'll
Mm-hmm.
just say dot slash src resources and my file name. So maybe we can save it in properties file as well. So let's just try to do it and then let's try to move it to properties file because we can't hard code in a test case, right? So let's see whether it is able to do it. But before that, I have to add something because this is a new file, right? I have to say new file, move it to another line. I'll add
Mm-hmm.
one more here. This file I have to import it. Java. So now, now let's try this and see whether it throws any error or whether it works.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it is working because we have provided the path of the file here. So instead of in earlier test case, what we did is this is the one we stored this JSON in a string. Then we read it by calling this string body method. But here we stored the JSON inside the uh, users.json external file. So
Mm-hmm.
now we are getting data from JSON file. We are also getting a common environment properties from environment file. So you can reuse this JSON. So maybe you have something else instead of that. So
Mm-hmm.
whatever JSON you have, you can enclose it and you can directly call and you send this way because the path. Let's try to move this path to environment variables.
Mm-hmm.
So uh, JSON file path into this one. Now, instead of giving hard coding path there, what I will do is I'll just say I don't need this quotations. I'll say config dot get property. Inside this, I'll paste this one. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So now let's see whether it works or not.
Okay.
Yeah, it's working. So we haven't hard coded. See, this is what the framework do. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
you're not supposed to hard code anything in the framework. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
everything should get from the properties file. I don't know what they are. See, every framework is different. Every company design framework as per their requirements. But
Mm-hmm.
the basic standards it need to be followed is the reading data from external files like this. In properties file, generally all the environment details will be passed. In whatever JSON, it completely depends on the API which you are working. This API
Mm-hmm.
which we are using is open source one. Maybe the API which you use in real-time project might be some other one. So you may have some other JSON file, but The code to read the JSON file, everything will remain same. Just the way you work depends on your API, and also your basic thing rule is it's not good to hard code anything in your test case, so you're not supposed to hard code anything this like this. I mean, that's why we haven't hard coded the path and whatever environment details we are getting from this. Also, apart from that, we have a base class. Inside that, we have some code to under the setup we are reading the properties file. Also, this one to read this base URI base path, we configured something like this in the last one for the Stripe API. So maybe one framework you want to utilize for multiple ones. Maybe you can create different URLs for different APIs which you are targeting and read this way, so that you don't need to change them inside the test case. You just change them at only one way, so at one place.
One place. Yeah.
Yeah. So, like we have covered how to read the JSON through string, also how to read JSON from external file. Now, like let's convert these test cases into TestNG test cases, and let's just add them inside TestNG XML file. So,
Okay.
mm,
So is Gradle is also similar to Maven?
yeah, Gradle I haven't used much because Maven is the mostly used one. Yeah, they two are similar.
Okay.
Like instead of Maven, they are using Gradle, but they should tell you like how what are the similarities, how they are doing that. Those details you should get from them,
Yeah. Mm.
because I don't know why, but mostly used one is Maven only. Like,
Yeah. Mhm.
so here I'm not saying the option to convert this to TestNG. Let's try this. Deliver whole project. Okay, I'll do one thing. I'll quickly open this in Eclipse, and I want to convert this to TestNG so that all the test cases will be added inside.
Okay.
Open it. It's there in the downloads, right? I'll just open that project and convert to TestNG, switch back to this one. Okay. By the way, what they're using Eclipse, or they're using this one?
IntelliJ itself. Mm.
Just one. Next, browse. It is there under the downloads. What is the name? The name is Rest
That's good.
Assured
Yeah.
API framework, right? Open, finish. Is this the one which we are using? Yeah, this is the one. This is what we have created. Now I right click, TestNG, convert to TestNG. So what does this do? This create a TestNG XML file like this. Inside this, you should give something. I'll tell you, like whatever test cases you want to execute, you should give the details inside this testng.xml file. Now,
Okay.
I just want to change it in other way, because by default it is created like this, but I want it to be. I don't want to see in the form of classes like this. What I'll do is I have this test and name. It is there under the test. So whatever folder we have, uh, name test. Where is this test? Have under this test and under this test. Okay, so here what I'll do is I'll quickly, maybe I need to reuse this one. It is there under the test package, right? So I'll be needing this. So let's give some space and add whatever I needed first. So test name is fine. I don't want this thread count as of now. And inside this, I have the classes. So actually, I don't want to give all the classes at one go. I want these classes, but inside that, I want to give class name this way. So for one class, it will be like this. Sorry, I don't. So classes, class name is sample tests. Where is the sample test? Sample test dot create customer with valid and invalid key.
Mm-hmm.
This is one. And again, I enclose with this test. This is fine. And also, this is my one test case. I want to add another test case. So I think here, this one, name. I want to give the name like which test case? Create customer. I'll say it create customer. Now I copy this of whatever generated it was. Sorry, just one moment. Let's do anything. So let's paste it here first. And I have this test name. For inside this, I want classes and I want only one class per this way. So I'll delete this one. Here, what I'll do is just give backspace this way. And I'll say, create customer, right? So I'll say create customer and then I have test, I have classes, I have test name, classes, class, and test. It is one test case. Now for the second test case, what I'll do is I'll paste it here. Instead of that, I'll copy this and paste this here. Here I'll say create customer. Okay, uh, I don't need that one. I need this one. I'll say this one REST API. Sorry, request API. REST API register. I'll call this. Then I need one more. So for the third one, I'll do is it is under the test, it is under the sample test. So we have two sample and tests we have to. So I need this one. Here only I'm just copy pasting. The same thing I'll say create customer tests. I'll just say this. Then how many we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we don't need this for base. We don't need this. We need this JSON one as well. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. Let me copy this. Let me copy this. See, instead of one class, a single class, I'm just separating them as tests here.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll copy this. I'll paste it here and I'll say request response read JSON. I'll say. So I'll delete this. I don't need it now. Now this is my testng.xml.
Mm-hmm.
Inside this, let's try to implement this reporting part now, so that actually what I did is I have a project.
Mm-hmm.
Where is this now? Okay, this is the one. The other one is, yeah. I have a project like this. I have already implemented this extend listeners and extend manager. So I'll just I want to reuse this. I have shown you this extend report API, right? Uh, if you go through this extend reports,
Okay.
so I told you this documentation we have to see and we have to do a lot of things. So if you go through each and every step of documentation and explain, try to understand each and every code, just we have to reuse this, like whatever they have given. So I
Okay.
already reused it, and I have some files from my other project. So what I'll do is I'll copy
Mm-hmm.
paste. I have created this listeners based on the documentation. These were created. This is something I'm just inputting my details to the reporting using this extent manager, and
Mm-hmm.
using this extent listeners. Listeners are similar to test-ng listeners. When you run your test, these listeners used to use it to generate the report, because inside this I'm just saying if the test is successful, do this. If the test is not successful, do this. These are the details I'm just leaving inside this. So this, see, if you, we don't need to understand the inner details of it. Even I don't know in-depth line-to-line code why they have written like this. But for my project, based on the documentation, we have something created. So whatever I have created, whatever is working from my end, I just copy pasting these two. But
Okay.
the bottom line here is it was generated by going through this documentation, which is like some kind of tidy process. Whatever we have this for front end, we can
Mm-hmm.
reuse it, because reporting is tool is same. So whatever this listeners manager, this concept is same. Okay.
Okay.
So I'll just uh, copy this. I'll go back to the, okay, this is the test, this is the one, this is the framework one. I'll create a package here called listeners. Inside this, I'll paste these files.
Mm-hmm.
Pasted these files because we have already added this. What do you say? Mm, inside this, I have already added some details, and inside of my pom.xml, I have
Mm-hmm.
already added this dependency. So I didn't got any error here. But something I have to work here is I have to create a folder called reports,
Mm-hmm.
because I want my reports to get generated inside this folder. But the
Oh,
path which I have given here, this is for the Windows PC I was working from my work, but mine is not Windows, so I have to configure this one. I believe this won't work. I have to change this. So for that, I have a see, this is from my APM project. Okay, I worked on mobile testing, mobile automation. From there, I just changed the path inside this listeners file. So I just want to reuse it to save some time, because if we give the some wrong path, it will take some time for us to troubleshoot that one, right? So
mm-hmm.
just for that reason, I'll just uh, instead of this, I'll replace it anyways. Just give me 1 second.
Okay.
I'll copy the, just copy it from my APM framework. Mm, maybe I should copy the line and paste it and see how it works. So here, where is it gone? Here, this one. Need this line, right? Copy this. I'll just simply paste it here. These two are doing the same thing, but here instead of that I have to get the path of this. Now I'll get it, I'll reveal in Finder. I'll click it, copy report as path name. Instead of this, I use this one. Okay, this is where it is, right? So now I don't need this one. It's the same. Just see, I'll do one thing. You're using Windows PC, right? I'll just comment out this. So when you get this at your end, you comment out this one and uncomment this one. That will be better.
Okay.
So here I just want to cross check something, like it is like backward slash only, right? It's a backward slash, but still I'm not sure this path, how it takes, how it works. I'm not sure because in Windows, it's very easy. If you give the system.user.directory, it will take you until this point. Then inside you are saying it's a reports folder. In Windows it is easy, but in Mac, I tried doing this in Mac in many projects. It wasn't working, like because I have to give the path directly this way for that reason. So I need something else to be configured in my testng.xml file. So what we have got, I just have to check whether we got the testng XML file. Yeah, we have got it. Let me open it. Inside this, whatever listeners, testng listeners I have to configure, I have to add it. Then only the report will get generated. Okay.
Okay.
So inside this, I'll say listener class name. Where is this extend dot listeners? This is there inside this, right? Now I have to give this one. I'll say okay, listeners dot listeners dot extend listeners. I have to give class name. This one, yeah, and then something is missing. I have listeners. I have listeners. I have a listener. So yeah, I have to close this. Okay, it is closed here. I must close. Okay. So this is how I have to give my listeners inside my testng XML file. Just when I execute any case, this is the connection between testng and the extend listener. So that based on the status of the test case, I have some code inside this extend listeners and extend managers to generate reports at one path also for the UI part, and if the test case status is pass or fail, based on that what it want to do. For that I have some code, so that's why I'm passing that file here. Okay, it is there, and this listeners, extend listeners, that is what I have passed here. Okay, so now let's try to execute one test case and see, but still I'm not sure whether this works or not. If it works, well and good. If it not, I'll troubleshoot and see why it's not working. Let's try to run this. I think nothing is generated. So, I don't need to open it in download. Just close it. Close this one. What it is doing, whatever test cases I have given, it is trying to execute. Some of the test cases are passed, some of the test cases are failed. Now, let me, it's not generated. Have to see why it is not generated, because the path which, see, the plan is like inside this, I have this, what you say, date and time configured. So this is configured, report should get generated with this, what you say, timestamp. So dynamic report will be generated, should get generated after each and every test case, but why it is? Rating. Don't need this one. This one. Okay. Do I need to? I have added the listeners as well.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Inside this, everything was configured fine. Still, it is not working. I don't know why. Listeners, and then I have a listener. Inside this, I have a class name, which is supposed to be package name and class name. Package name is listeners, and then extend listeners. So if I open this extend listeners, file name also have given this way. Something wrong like this. So private static, this is also private static, right? So yes, yes, we are Eclipse workspace. Okay, this is not Eclipse workspace, this is downloads only. So I have given downloads only. Whatever path I have copied, I have given. Something is missing. Do I need to? Okay. See, I got it. What is missing? After this reports, I think backslash I haven't added
Okay.
this one. Now, I hope it will get generate report this time. Let's see. Because the setting wise, everything is fine. I have reused
Mm-hmm.
from there, so it should work all the settings, but don't know why it is not generating. Yeah, it got generated.
Okay.
See, here it has got generated.
Mm-hmm.
See, reporting part is very important. See, earlier also it got generated, but it has got generated here. We missed this because I forgot to give slash after this. What it did is it has added the reports also instead of generating inside the reports. It has
Mm-hmm.
added that after this. See,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
see, this is how report get generated. Okay.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
This is the pass fail status. It was updated. If it is passed, it is like this. If it
Mm-hmm.
is failed, it is showing the exception. Whatever exception it is getting in the console that has got added here, and it is
Mm-hmm.
marked that test case is failed. So it is passed. This is also passed. This is failed and exception. See, expected 2000 but 400 that also got printed here. This one
Mm-hmm.
also it has printed. And
Okay.
yeah, see for API we don't need screenshot. We don't have any UI to take screenshots. So see
Mm-hmm.
whatever values I have given for my configuration that also got printed, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So one thing, observe the framework which you have in your company. If
Mm-hmm.
the report part is not there, see, are you
Mm-hmm.
working on your laptop or you're working on office laptop?
Office laptop.
So then
Mm-hmm.
try to, if reporting part is there, well and good. You don't need to do
Mm-hmm.
anything. It is
Okay.
not. Maybe you can reuse this and implement reporting part. Means
Mm-hmm.
that will be good.
Yes.
HTML report will look
Mm-hmm.
good anyway. Try
Mm-hmm.
to do because I'll share this project with you today anyway. So you see the previous general reported also it's there.
Mm-hmm.
While configuring this, like you should be very careful. See, it has got generated earlier also, but this reports I forgot to give backslash, so it generated in this way. So
Mm-hmm.
let me close. Let me delete this. So now we have seen the reporting part. We have seen like I explained this. See
Mm-hmm.
the second manager, and just in case if they ask you what these do, like is there any way that you can check whether reporting is implemented or not, or like Maybe you can do later, but just in case if you need to explain, say,
Mm-hmm.
these are the extend listener class. Inside this, you have this Java date object, which is used to generate the dynamic reports. Okay.
Okay.
See, like if the dynamic report is not generated, what will happen? Whatever report generated once, it will get overwrite each and every time. But one
Mm-hmm.
more thing, we have executed all the test cases to testng.xml, right? So let's try to execute them one by one, then see whether it is getting generated or not.
Okay.
This wasn't added inside this. Okay. Think for single test case, it is not generating. Let me see why it is not generating. In my testng.xml, they are the same test cases, right? So we have this sample tests. Under this sample test, we have two test cases. Sample test dot create customer with valid and invalid key. We have this under this tests folder. One, two, three test cases. We have one, two, three test cases. Okay, does the okay? Let me see this code. It is dynamically getting everything. Why it is not generating for single report is what I have to figure out. Uh, Somehow it is not generating for the individual test case. I'm just
Mm-hmm.
trying to figure out why. So it is generating when we execute from testng XML file, but it
Mm-hmm.
is not generating when we execute them individually.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Configuration is fine inside this testng XML file, but why it is not generating? So the test name it is getting from the report. Simple test invalid key sample list. Okay, it is getting dynamically whatever the test name as well. Why it is? See, even you can apply filter here for the pass fail test cases.
Mm-hmm.
To clear filter, it will show just here go to status and apply the filter.
Mm-hmm.
Clear and it will print everything. Why it is supposed to generate the report, right? If it is generating for a test in the XML, it is supposed to generate for this one as well.
Mm-hmm.
Still not able to understand why it is not generating for individual tests. Maybe you just try it at your end and see. I don't know
Sure.
when I give the project, but it is supposed to generate. There is nothing much I have to add to make this work, but somehow it is not working. I don't know why. So,
Okay.
okay,
Sure.
what else we can cover? Mm, so, from my end, like we have the properties file, we have this extend manager, so reports are getting generated. What else we can cover? So currently you don't have your office laptop with you, right? Or
No.
you, okay. So
Mhm.
you have any doubts or like queries?
So is it done with the all these?
Yeah, the framework, the base structure and reading data from external file and this one.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, do one thing. See, at my end, I don't have this Excel in my Mac, okay? But
Okay.
uh, I want to demonstrate something called data provider. Okay,
Okay.
the data provider concept, it will, you will get it from what do you say, testng only. But
Okay.
here, what you do inside this data provider is like you have to read data from Excel file. So I'll give you this code. Okay, I'll tell you how to use this. Just uh, I just have to, what do you say, create one file here.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I can put it inside the base. Oh, so we don't need it inside the base. You may need it inside this resources. Okay, like
Mm-hmm.
create a new Java class.
Okay.
Not getting the option there, so I'll quickly create a package here inside this.
Mm-hmm.
Create a new package with the name Excel reader. Or else I'll do one thing. I'll create a package with the name utility.
Mm-hmm.
Inside this, I'll create a inside this I'll create a Java class with the name Excel reader. So inside this, I'll paste this code. I'll explain what it is and why it is like this. Just give me some time. Let me copy paste it.
Yeah, sure.
Thing is, like, if you like want to like write each and every line of code, it will
Mm-hmm.
take more than 4 months to finish. So we
Okay.
have the documentation in each and every APIs. See, for this Excel reading, we use
Mm-hmm.
something called Apache POI. Let me show you that website as well.
Okay.
Sadness, just pasting it. We get a lot of exceptions because you have to import a lot of things. Lot
Okay.
of things. Over it and import them first. Then I'll explain like what it is and all. Don't worry. Just wait for some time. Unnecessarily something got copied like this. Don't know from where it got copied. You have it here or what? Why it got it? God, how long it will take to delete this? Let me do one thing. It really takes more than half an hour to do this. Let me create something new. File new. blank. I'll paste it here first. Now, if I copy from it, I'm not supposed to get them.
Okay.
Yeah. So I hope that it didn't got generated again, but let's see. Porting we can do, but my God, what is this? I'll do one thing. I'll explain the code to you. When I share this file with you, I'll delete them and I'll share it to you. Okay.
Yes, sure,
So
sure.
I believe it will take a lot of time to. Okay. It was there at some places. Okay. 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 Just give me 2 minutes. Okay. Just 2 minutes.
Mm.
See, as they have framework already, you may not to implement each and everything, but
Yes.
just in case like it is needed or it is required, maybe you can reuse some code from this. Okay.
Yes, sure.
So I think Apache POI is not added inside this. That's why I'm getting it or something. Let me check the dependencies. We have
Mm-hmm.
extend report 4, we have Rest Assured, TestNG, we have okay, this much we have. There are a lot of dependencies I have added, right? So yeah, Rest Assured is there, Java ML is there, TestNG is there, JSON is there, Jackson. Yeah, I have this Apache POI, but still okay. Maybe if I press Command Shift O, uh, Control Shift O, something got changed. But if I find anything else like this, I'll do it later. But just trying to figure
Yes.
out why these are not get
Mm.
imported. Let me see something I missing. Some imports are missing for sure. So
Mm-hmm.
import. Okay, I believe this will get resolved if we import this. But this is weird. I don't know why I'm getting this. Anyways, import, import, right? This also import. And then over. Yeah, some major
Yes.
errors are gone. This
Yes.
one, just import this. Import this. Yeah, I think apart from that, those are from the red mark. I'll resolve that later and when I give
Yeah,
this
that's
file
right.
because
Mm-hmm.
that will take a lot of time. So just don't want to waste a lot of time here. So I will leave something need to be imported. Let's see what it is. Right. I'll show you this documentation of Apache POI and just tell you something. See,
Okay.
something called Apache POI, which is used to read data from Excel file. You use
Okay.
this with Selenium, you use this with wherever you need to what to say, wherever you need to import something from Excel file, there this will come into picture. So
Okay.
I duplicate this and go to Google and search for Apache Pivot. See, you read data from Excel in front end as well, in back end as well. So it completely depends. If you go through this documentation,
Mm-hmm.
whatever file I have, sorry, shared with you,
Mm-hmm.
that was gotten from here only. I'll show you where it is. See, here there was some proper documentation somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, this interface is changed a lot. Uh,
Oh,
Earlier, when we worked on this, it was somewhat different. But
okay.
here, okay, what was the previous one? I go to this one. See, whatever code I have inside this, I got it from documentation. Okay, this documentation only.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this one, quick guide. Yeah, see, if you say this, it has code like this.
Okay.
This is to create a new sheet. This is to create a new workbook. This is to create a cells. And we went through the documentation and just copy pasted whatever needed from here and created the file which
Okay.
I am share with you. Okay.
Okay.
See, you don't need to bother about what is each and everything and all. You don't need to bother about it. Just
Mm-hmm.
to read this, we have clearly mentioned here, like what it is, like what this method do. So these are
Okay.
the different methods which we created by going through documentation. We haven't wrote all this code, right? In the documentation, they have provided this. So
Okay.
what needed for our project, we just copy pasted and encrypted everything what we need into one Java file and named it as Excel reader. Okay.
Okay.
So just don't bother about the inner logic. It like
Mm-hmm.
we don't need that much because it's hard to explain and see all these things. Whatever
Mm-hmm.
dependencies you need to use this Excel utility, they were already added in pom.xml. Whatever
Okay.
you see with the name POI, these are all
Mm.
from Apache POI only. The
Okay.
website which I have shown you, from there
Mm-hmm.
only the Maven dependencies are available in this Maven repository. So whatever dependencies we need, we have already added in this form.xml file, first thing.
Okay.
And the
Mm.
second thing is, whatever utilities you may need to work in real-time project, we went through the documentation and pasted them at one place. Second thing you need to keep in mind. So
Mm-hmm.
there is a concept called data provider in what do you say, TestNG. There,
Okay.
do is inside that code, you just have this what do you say, you utilize something from this Excel reader to just call this method. If you want to get cell data, maybe I can do one thing.
Mm-hmm.
See, this is my by default application. I can't save or use this. I can just read the file. I can't use it from my code because I haven't got license yet.
Uh-huh.
So name means this one. See, if you want to read from Excel sheet, we have the code from each and everything. So first we have
Okay.
declared whatever. This is the file input stream which we use it to read the properties file as well.
Uh-huh.
This is the output stream. If you want to write back something to Excel, then use this file output. This is for
Okay.
workbook. Your Excel file. This is your workbook. Your
Mm-hmm.
sheet is this one.
Uh-huh.
This is your sheet. Okay, you can add as many sheets as you can have. That's not a problem. Just this is your sheet. You have to provide a valid sheet name here. Suppose say you are reading the user details from here. Just name
Mm.
it as user. Okay.
Okay.
Then you may say the username, password. You can provide them here. Whatever username
Okay.
one, password one. You have to basically create a Excel sheet like this. Whatever test data you have, this is the
Uh,
Excel file for your test data. This is the sheet name. This is the fields which you are going to read. This is your test data. Okay.
uh, mm-hmm.
First thing. Next thing is, see, we have something called Excel reader. So you
Mm-hmm.
just have to call this. Inside this, which path you provide, the path of your Excel file. Maybe you can add your Excel file here inside this resources from
Okay.
whatever xyz.xls something. Then whatever path you have, that when you call this method, you have to see this file input stream. What it is doing, it is going through the workbook, means your Excel file, and then
Mm-hmm.
it is going through the sheet. This sheet is nothing but this sheet, this one. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So if you want to read data from this Excel file, here
Mm.
in this path, you place your Excel file under this resources. Okay. Then
Okay.
call this utility. Just give the path of your Excel file. First thing, it will read your Excel file. Okay. This is the first one. Thus,
Okay.
if you want to return the number of row count, you have to call this method. So you know how to call the methods, right? Just call them in
Mm-hmm.
your Java class whenever you need it. Just call that.
Mm-hmm.
How you call by here? What it is inputting sheet name. The sheet name is nothing but this one. Okay.
Okay.
Just
Mm-hmm.
remember sheet name, your actual username, password, and these are your test data. This is your heading. This is not your test data. This is your head test data.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So see whatever requirement you have, go through this comments and just use the corresponding method. That's it you have to do. See this get
Okay.
cell data. What it will do, it will print the cell data.
Mm-hmm.
So first what it is doing, it is getting your workbook and also it is getting your sheet name. See here you have to provide three parameters. Whatever the sheet name, if you want to get cell data of this one, this done, what you do, you provide the sheet name, you provide the column name, and you provide the column number.
All.
These are the three parameters. So for this, to call this method, you have to use those three when you call
Okay.
this method. So
Mm-hmm.
that is how, just don't bother about this hundreds and hundreds of lines of code. Just call that and use it. Okay. I'll
Okay,
just
sure.
delete this and share this with you. Just if needed, I believe they have already something like this at the framework.
Mm-hmm.
But just in case if you need, just use it in this way. Get cell data, like this is returning the cell data from cell. Just read out the comment what it is about, then utilize it and just try to use it in your test case if needed. See,
Yes.
mostly you don't have to go until Excel, mostly. But
Mm-hmm.
if it is there, they must provide you KT on this, on their framework. Since you
Yeah.
don't need to create any framework from scratch, already you are on safe side. This
Mm-hmm.
burden won't be on you for sure anyways. What
Yeah.
you have to understand is the architecture of that framework. It may or may not be like this. It
Mm-hmm.
completely dependent on people how they created that. So try
Mm-hmm.
to understand that framework, then ask them to give the KT of the framework and try to
Mm-hmm.
whatever existing test cases they are creating, just
Mm-hmm.
open them and go through them. Just
Yeah.
uh, just get a
Mm-hmm.
clear picture of how many types of external files they are using. They might be using properties file, they might be using this JSON file, they
Uh-huh.
might be using Excel as well. But as this framework is at place, just get the details and framework KT and observe the test cases written by them. If you have to
Yep.
see, you don't need to write from scratch, right? There might be some existing test cases.
Mm-hmm.
Just
Mm-hmm.
go through them, copy
Yeah.
paste one test case, and whatever copy you have, actual pasted test case, delete everything in that test case and open the existing test case and try to, like, I believe you
Yeah.
will get, by seeing you
Yeah.
understand what it is and all.
Uh-huh.
So
Yeah.
based on that, keep writing test cases. That is
Sure.
the thing. If they have framework at place, this is what you have to do. Since this
Mm-hmm.
one issue is resolved, right, you don't need to create anything from scratch. That's the first
Yes.
thing.
Yes.
So directly you can understand that framework and keep on working. From my
Mm-hmm.
end, I have provided this. I'll anyway share this with you. That's not a problem. But yeah,
Yeah.
just try to create some test cases here as well using this, so that maybe you, whatever open source APIs we have used, this is a very simple one. Maybe you can start with this. Just
Okay.
if you click here, you get the endpoint. Okay,
Uh-huh.
copy this and paste it in your properties file and give it a valid name. So whenever you
Mm-hmm.
create test, just call that URL here, whatever property you have. So I have given customer endpoint like this, right? For this you say list users endpoint, single user endpoint. So if you click here, you go back, copy this, go back, and whatever test data, if you need to pass it. Here for
Mm-hmm.
this get request, you don't have any test data, right? Only post request, you have the test data.
Mm-hmm.
So whatever response you have to get, that also clearly mentioned here. So this is a very simple API you can start working with initially. Once you are clear,
Uh-huh.
then maybe you can reuse the ones which we have for the stripes and just create something. So
Okay.
believe much practice will be enough for you to get a hands on. Then next part is understanding their framework.
Yeah,
Then
yeah, sure. Mm-hmm.
okay.
Sure, sure.
So maybe if I'll quickly do one thing today.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'll go through my existing project which I worked, and I'll quickly recall what I have explained to you, just in case I feel that something is missing. Sure,
Mm-hmm.
I'll get back to you and explain that concept. Otherwise, as far as I know, as far as my knowledge, I just covered each and everything, but I'll quickly do that and get back to you for sure. But first
So
thing
what
is,
about
I'll,
the page objects?
yeah, let's see the page object now. Then I completely
Mm-hmm.
forgot. Maybe we can do one more thing. Let's switch back to the front end and see the page object first.
Okay.
Are you okay if I use Eclipse for that my project?